Hello and welcome to another edition of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler. I'm your host, Kelly Loft, and thanks for joining us again here at Studio One, Marshall Local Cable Access, and at smsumustangs.com. An exciting weekend of basketball this past weekend for Mustang Hoops as SMSU, for the first time in school history, captures the NSIC Tournament Championship, beating Minnesota Duluth in the quarterfinals, Winona State in the semis, and then beating Minnesota State Moorhead in the championship game. And with the victories, the Mustangs now advance to the NCAA Regional Tournament, which will be played in Golden, Colorado, starting up this Saturday. We'll talk more about that here shortly, but joining us, as always, is the head coach of the Mustangs, Brad Bigler. And as you can see behind us, champions. It sure looks great, and it's great to say it as well, Coach. Congratulations on the tournament championship, and we'll reflect and look ahead and see. We'll move past that here shortly, but we look back at this last week, and what a great 3 games by your guys.
And it's been a lot of fun. Just very thankful for all the support from the community, all the text messages and phone calls that we received, and the people that were able to make it over to Rochester, and even to our game versus Duluth last Wednesday. We've had 3 nail-biters in the second half where we've been able to come back from a decent deficit, and it's been nice to see our guys show a lot of heart.
Yeah, you talk about going back to that Wednesday night game. We don't have highlights of that Minnesota-Duluth contest, but twice in the last 10 minutes you're down by 7 points and came back and really got after it defensively in the last 10 minutes of the game. And that's really kind of been the theme this entire conference tournament week, was your defensive effort. I think people kind of forget about that UMD last 10 minutes or so. And then Winona State, you took the lead in the second half and never gave that back up. And then Sunday night's game against the Minnesota State Moorhead, unbelievable last 10 minutes. Did not allow a field goal from the 10-minute mark until the final seconds, and that gave you the championship.
And that's where the guys just got down and stance and were talking and doing all the little things.
Yep, and of course the Mustangs with the championship against the Dragons, winning 76-72. Mustangs now 19-10 on the season, and with that championship get the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. And I know, Coach, you've said this in various media outlets, and we knew we were going to be in the regional regardless, even if we would have lost to UMD on Wednesday night. But that's something you guys didn't even really talk about at all. The guys, they're not. They know what's going on as well, but your guys' focus was winning this conference championship, the tournament title.
And that's really what our focus was. I haven't talked about the NCAA tournament a whole lot. We stuck with our goals, and our first goal was to get a first-round bye. Second goal was to go do something.
First-round home game.
First-round home game. And then the second goal was to go do something that no Southwest team has ever done. And I'm very proud about these guys and how they went about their business. And I think right now going into the NCAA tournament, it's important to stay humble and to remember how we got here, to keep working in practice, to making sure that we come with that same intensity in the game, and just to be relentless.
Yeah, of course, again, the Mustangs beat Minnesota Duluth in the quarterfinals, a come-from-behind victory against the Bulldogs, and then on Saturday night took on Winona State, and it was a neutral site in Rochester, but a lot of fans obviously coming from Winona State, and they've had a lot of things going on with their program the last month and a half, and this is a team that would have won the conference championship without their nullification games. You knew they were going to be a very good team. They've beaten us twice in 2 very close ball games, and this one was much the same. And the key probably in the first half, their top scorer and rebounder gets in foul trouble, Clayton Vetty. Despite that, the Warriors still led by 5, and then when he played mainly the second half, you outscore him by 10. But what a ball game back and forth, and so many different guys stepped up, and of course tournament MVP Lavion West was one of the big factors.
And we have a lot of respect for Winona State and what they've done. This team, as you saw, with Clayton Vetty stepping on the first half, they still have the talent to do a lot of things. They're so versatile, they're long, and they play well together. Very sound team, and we were able to, in the second half, kind of get some momentum early, and I thought they started to press just a little bit maybe there in the end, I think there was a little bit more pressure on them than there was us.
Yeah, of course, Winona State had to win the tournament to continue their season because of their penalties. So, they, as you mentioned, they had a lot riding on it. And the Mustangs down 5 at half, 36-31, but outscore the Warriors 38-28 in the second half, limiting the Warriors to just 38% shooting in the second half and just 1 of 14 from a three-point range. And of course, Laviana West, as I mentioned, 17 points in the game, hit 7 of 7 free throws, some clutch free throws down the stretch, especially there in the final seconds, and you were able to get the victory. And of course, you know, had just a 1 3-pointer on that game, had just 1 3-pointer in the championship, and it just shows you're doing it in various ways. And your best free throw shooters at the line missed a couple of big ones, but as we saw, you just have so many different guys that have stepped up. It's really just truly a team here this season.
And we pieced it together. I think that's the best way of putting it. Whether it's getting those defensive stops, whether it's scoring in the paint, whether it's Laviana West with his mid-range pull-ups. There's a lot of guys that took advantage of opportunities, and it was nice to see.
Of course, so with the Mustang victory against Winona State, they moved to the championship game to take on the Minnesota State Moorhead Dragons. And the Dragons beat Southwest back in early January in the only meeting in Moorhead. And this one, a team coach that we'll talk about it here later in the show because we're going to play them this weekend. But the Dragons, a team that loves to shoot the three, and they sure did in the first half, making 8 3-pointers on 14 attempts. You're down by 8 at halftime, and they hit some early in the second half. You thought, wow, not much you can do when teams are making their shots, but you made some adjustments. They missed some shots, and next thing you know, you're down double digits at about the 10-minute mark, and just unbelievable effort there. And the Mustangs win. In the last minute or so, you pretty much had it locked up.
Yeah, and that second half, I do think the ball bounced our way a few times. There were some shots that they missed. Maybe we got a little bit lucky to kind of get back in the game, but. A lot of respect for Moorhead. We know that next time we play them, they will make adjustments. It'll be a heck of a ball game. But that second half, our guys got the momentum, got a couple steals. We're getting action to the rim, and fortunate for us, we kind of got about a 3-possession lead there a little bit there towards the end, and we're able to just kind of hold them off.
Well, Moorhead redshirt freshman Jordan Reaver had an unbelievable game. He had 25 points. 8 of 10 from the field, 7 3-pointers. Here's a guy averaging under 10 points a game, but he was open. He made some shots. And got to give the Dragons credit, Coach, in the first half. They limit the Mustangs to 41% shooting, and over the last month and a half, I mean, that is really uncommon. Southwest shooting over 50% nearly every half, and they really got after it and made the shot selection tough for you guys.
And I think a lot of that comes back to Alex Novak being able to protect the paint. What a phenomenal shot blocker. We found a way to come out of nowhere a couple times and get block shots, whether it was on Nick or Will Giddings. And just a great player in himself. And I think those guards play to their strengths as well. They understand how the depth they need to be on the basketball. They protect the paint well, and they rotate well. There's a lot of veterans in that group, and they showed it.
Well, in the second half, though, the Mustangs put up 48 points. Back to their normal 59% shooting, which probably isn't really normal, but still a very high percentage, 59%. And Mustangs, made some free throws and they win. And of course, the Dragons shoot just 41% in the second half. They still made 6 3-pointers, a couple of those late in the final seconds, but the Mustangs win 76-72. Points in the paint. SMSU 50-22 advantage. And points off turnovers, you had 20. The Dragons had 10. You forced 18 turnovers and had just 9. And a lot of those there in the final 10 minutes of the game. And we'll see some of those highlights shortly. But really just, you get that momentum. You really saw it switch in the second half.
And in the second half, I was wondering if that press was going to start working. It didn't seem like we were wearing them down. And fortunate for us, maybe we did wear them down. Maybe they just got, maybe we just got lucky and they missed a few shots. But it felt like that last 6 minutes that our depth finally came to be a bigger factor in the game, and I'm just glad we took advantage of it.
Well, as you mentioned, Laviana West, 17 points in the semifinal win over Winona State. He had 16 points on 6 of 7 shooting against Minnesota State Moorhead. An unbelievable tournament for Laviana, and great to see him earn MVP honors.
And Lav, I think it always starts on the defensive end with him. If he's playing good defense with it, using his length and his athleticism, you saw on both nights how he affected players, whether it was John Wahlberg on the first night, Chapman on the second night. Very big matchups. We always emphasize that. how he's playing on the defensive end always provides more opportunities on the offensive end because he's in the game longer. And he was able to get it going, and he was knocking down some shots, and how he was defending, so his minutes were up. And I'm just so happy that he took advantage of his opportunities.
Well, of course, Nick Smith also had a big tournament for the Mustangs. That game on Sunday, 21 points, 10 rebounds, his first career double-double. He was named to the All-Tournament team, and Jordan Miller also named to the All-Tournament team, made some big shots in the ball games, all 3 games for Southwest. And both he and Matt Zager well-deserving of All-Tournament as well. Zager did not get All-Tournament, but those 3, Jordan Miller, Smith, and West, all be named All-Tournament. And, of course, as we mentioned, West, not often you see a guy coming off the bench named MVP and well-deserved for the junior for the Mustangs. So again, the Mustangs now on their way home that Sunday night. You find out that you're playing in the NCAA tournament against Minnesota State Moorhead. Mustangs and the Dragons will meet up for the 3rd time, and we'll be playing on the Saturday night in Golden, Colorado at the Colorado School of Mines, and that'll be a 9:30 Central start on Saturday night, and we'll touch more on that one here shortly. But again, we show the conference coach. 5 teams make the NCAA tournament, and that doesn't even include Winona State not making the tournament, but it just shows you the grind that you've had to go through for 29 games now, and playing a couple of Division I's, and one of those Division I's probably will make the NCAA tournament in the Division I ranks. So it's just showing that these battles on the road all season long, we keep talking about it, but it makes these guys ready for tournament time.
And those types of games early on in the season, I think they make you face adversity, and that's big, and especially with a young group like we have, who we needed guys to step up in those leadership roles, and I'd kind of lock in on that identity, and throughout the year we've been improving, and that's been something you could say about this team and this group, is they've really been good listeners, worked hard, and really developed this identity of what they're doing right now.
Again, the Mustangs winning the conference tournament championship, first time in 5 tries in school history, so the first time ever. Mustangs have lost a couple of years ago, Coach Bigler's first season, losing a heartbreaker to St. Cloud State in St. Cloud, but this time playing in the Mayo Civic Center in Rochester. Has lots of great highlights, and we're going to start them off here, Coach. Just a couple from the first game against Winona State. We saw Casey Susanguth there just get clipped off, but he had a basket. There's a dunk by Lavion West, and just some of the highlights here from this tournament.
And it started off, that was a home game for Winona. The amount of people that were there, it was pretty impressive on their end just to be able to show that kind of support. I know they've been facing some adversity, and the community is having taken pride in their team, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it was good to see them support their team. It was also good to see our support. Our fans, maybe a quarter in size, but we're just as loud, and we're very thankful that they were there. Yeah,
you saw some of the highlights. You saw a 3-pointer by Miller to cap those highlights. That was the only 3 for Southwest in the game, but the Mustangs hold a 34-32 rebound advantage, had just 12 turnovers in the contest, and SMSU shoots 50% in the second half and wins that game 69-64, ending Winona State's season, and the Mustangs again advancing to the championship game to take on the Dragons. So the next night, the Mustangs and Minnesota State Moorhead playing for the NSIC Tournament Championship, and we go to some of the highlights now from the ball game on Sunday night in Rochester. And Coach, we start off here. Nick Smith, again, double-double with the layup.
And Nick's night was a little bit quiet. He got a lot of his points off of guys creating for him. And I think a lot of that's back to what I hear is a perfect example where Novak had to help out and protect that paint, and Nick took advantage of it.
You see the dunk. Again, Smith, 8 of 14 shooting, 21 points, 10 rebounds. And Matt Zager's solid game as well, 12 points and cutting the basket for the layup.
Good curl cut action away from the basketball, and that's something that Matt has really developed. You see again here Casey Susanguth with a finish off Jordan Miller's nice pass.
Nick Smith, a couple of baskets here, and now a pass from Tremel Barnes. Gets the bounce pass, spins, and takes it in for the layup. And then here's MVP, Lavion West, driving and pull up with about 8 feet. Buries that jumper.
Bernard with a nice take. I thought you saw Bernard's just that little extra bounce in his back in his step, and I think you pretty much say he's 100% now.
Again, Miller, great pass to Susanguth. And here's Bernard taking it to the rack and drawing a foul. Mustangs 17 of 23 from the foul line and nearly got that to go for an and one. And back on the offensive end, Lavion West. I mean, that's a tough hit from 15 feet.
Yeah, and that's a shot that if he's knocking that down, there's not many defenders out there that can really make a big impact on that shot.
Mustangs taking a charge. Bernard Birch continue on in the first half. Again, the Mustangs led early, and the Dragons had some big three-pointers and took the lead. You see the Mustangs now down 7 here in the final minutes. And Susan Guth taking a charge against Novak, one of the best players in the conference.
And Novak is really, since they've changed the way they've been playing, some personnel, Novak stepped up on the offensive end and has been a huge contributor on the offensive end, and it was nice to get him out of the game a little bit.
Go to the second half. Mustangs, again, action to the rim, 50 points in the paint. Zager with a layup, Bernard Birch. And here's the third foul on Alex Novak coming up here as Jordan Miller drives and draws the foul. Bernard Birch layup.
And I think what you try to do is when you have a shot blocker like that, you go into his body. I think that's the biggest thing. You don't want to give him space, and that's where when we're driving, we're going to go into his body. We're going to make him play discipline. If he wants to leave the ground and swing his arms, and hopefully we can get him in foul trouble.
Here's a steal. One of 18 turnovers forced by the Mustangs. Zager takes it in. Nick Smith posting up, fighting for position. Slip screen, draws the foul. And here's a great team defense.
And this is right where that momentum started to change a little bit. Able to get the ball and get some steals. Just changing the tempo of the game. And that's where we talk a lot about controlling the tempo on both ends of the floor. And it's important for our guys to keep working at that point.
Lavion West, the and one. Tough hit. Draws the foul and scores. And then more defense by SMSU.
Matt getting a tip on the ball and Lav going and finishing the play in transition. Then he makes it look easy, but that's a pretty nice move right there.
Long range NBA 3 for Miller. That was the only 3 of the night for Southwest. And there's West drawing a foul. He's able to knock down 4 or 5 free throws in the game. There's Birch driving, spinning. Tough one-hand shot. And these guys do make it look easy in slow motion, but these are tough. And Jordan Miller driving.
Again, another good take by Jordan, picking up the foul. And Lav going to his go-to, that 15-foot pull-up jumper.
And Zager patient, finding Nick Smith. And again, the second half, Mustangs shoot 59%. And in the last 10 minutes, this is still a 1-point deficit. Here's where the Mustangs finally take the lead, first time since the first half. And Smith with the hook. And they get a stop on the defensive end. Good no call there. And Mustangs get a hoop by Smith. He scores 8 straight points. And here's another steal for SMSU. Wisely, Birch waits for his teammates. And later on in the possession, Zager, basket.
Matt moving without the basketball. I think that's something that you've seen him improve on this year. You'll see right here, Bernard with a nice pass to Nick. And at this point, our guys are going pretty good. You know, the bench is enjoying the moment a little bit, probably too much, as a matter of fact. But the game is about emotion, playing with passion. And right here you'll see Tremel Barnes finishing it out.
And then here Mustangs break the press. And Lav didn't do it against UMD, but he sure did here. You said, hey, go slam it home, and he did with authority. Whew.
Yeah, and we learned, versus Duluth, we were going to pull it out and not do anything, and they fouled us. So on that one, it was just one of those situations. We're going to go finish it and try to end on a high note.
And you see the Mustangs celebrating their 76-72 tournament championship for SMSU. The Mustangs got the champion shirts.
And it was good to see those seniors with smiles on their faces. Again, I've said it all year long. Those guys have been an impact and have been a big part of this leadership of this team. And I think when it comes back down to it, we always talk about legacy and what they're remembered. And I think these guys are the glue of this team, and very proud of them and very blessed to have them a part of this program.
And you see the emotion, a lot of hard work going through this entire season, and Mustangs get the championship, kissing the trophy. And
we'll finish up here with the tournament bracket. And the one thing about we appreciate the Midco for this video. Thankful that they they put that together. We're able to get over to Rochester, and it really makes our experience good. I think Butch Raymond, the commissioner in the conference office, to be able to get that to Rochester, it was a good. Yeah. It was a nice little change of pace, having both the women and men together. It was a pretty good experience for our guys.
It was. And now, of course, the focus goes to the NCAA tournament. Mustangs get ready now to go to Golden, Colorado. Be leaving on Thursday, flying out. You have a practice in the facility on Friday afternoon, and then get ready for the tournament. And it's the same kind of setup now. Neutral site, or not neutral site, Colorado School of Mines will be hosting, but still a couple of guys from the 09 team that were members of that team. Trent Carlson was a redshirt freshman. Jordan Miller, Laviana West, redshirted, but so they kind of know what the regional is all about. But it's going to be a new contest now, Coach. You are 0-0, and Moorhead obviously is going to have a week to prepare. You're going to have a week to prepare for Moorhead, and it's going to be a whole new contest, and it should be exciting. Talk about that first matchup, and then maybe I know you can't really look ahead, but you also have to plan for your other opponents as well, and talk about what your staff's been doing, because they're burning the midnight oil this week.
Well, that first matchup, we know Moorhead's going to make some adjustments. Coach Walthall, just watching his adjustments when they played Bemidji in his matchups, I think he's very creative in what he does. I think they'll be very prepared for us, and we'll have to be able to make some game time adjustments as well. If we were fortunate to get past them, the next round of games would be between Mines and Augustana, and right now Mines is playing at a pretty high level. They have a wing that was their MVP of their conference. They have a power forward that's a skilled player, and then they have surround those guys with a lot of guys who are just good role players, guys who can shoot it, guys who can put the ball on the floor, and I think they play to their strengths. And in some ways it reminds me of a team that we had back in 08-09, and they rebound the ball very well, they don't turn the ball over, and they take good shots and play good half-court defense. So they're a very talented team. Augustana will have their hands full. We know what Augustana is all about, and if we were fortunate to maybe get it to the next level, I don't know who's going to come out of that side of the bracket. Metro would be one that you would maybe consider, but Bemidji is a very talented team. St. Cloud, I mean, they're all good teams at that point, and I don't want to leave anyone out, because I don't think anyone would have thought we were going to be where we're at right now. And so there's a lot to prove right now, and there's for a lot of teams.
Well, Ken, the Mustangs play 9:30 Central Time on Saturday night, and then, of course, it'll be daylight savings time the next day. We'll play again at the same time, 9:30, if the Mustangs win in the semifinals, and the championship game will be on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Central. And again, all games at the Colorado School of Mines in Golden, Colorado, just west of Denver, just a suburb of Denver, and really a beautiful campus. And if you guys can, fans can make it out there, leave on Friday after work, and not a bad trip on the interstate, and get out to Denver, the Mustangs would really appreciate it. There'll be a lot of functions Saturday morning, some alumni events. Marshall Radio is doing an event, and the SMSU Alumni Association on Saturday night as well, doing a pregame social. And we have a lot of alums in the Denver area, so hopefully they can all come out and support the Mustangs this Saturday night and throughout the tournament. Again, the tournament bracket, Bemidji State is the 3 seed. They're taking on St. Cloud State, the 6 seed, at noon Mountain Time on Saturday, followed up by Metro State, the 2 seed, against Adams State, the 7 seed. A couple of Rocky Mountain teams, Rocky Mountain Conference, playing in that quarterfinal. And then the first game of the night session, the number 1 seed, Colorado School of Mines, the number 2 team in the nation. They are hosting Augustana, and they may be number 1 this week. The number 1 team got beat, so we could have the number 1 team in the country hosting this regional, and then, of course, followed by Moorhead and the Mustangs on Saturday night for the final game of that tournament. And Coach, what a great week, but as you said, now you get back at practice, and we'll focus ahead now on the regional. Of course, the Mustangs making their 3rd NCAA tournament appearance, a perfect 6-0 in regional tournament play. Of course, championships in 2001 and 2009 in St. Cloud, in Marshall, and hopefully now we can take it out west. But you guys will be focused up, and I know you'll get the distractions away. You know, no school this week. You're on break, so you can just focus on basketball. But I'm sure that's one of your things you've been kind of preaching to the guys is we've got to move forward now. We still have our goals in front of us.
Yeah, and we'll address that today in practice. We gave them the day off yesterday, and now it's a matter of refocusing and continue to what we've done. These guys have been good in practice. They've been good off the floor. They understand. I think they understand the big picture, and a lot of it goes back to those seniors. I think they keep the other guys grounded, and at the same time, we're all we're developing as a group. We're coming together as a group at the right time, and there's a lot of positive things.
Oh, it should be an exciting time. The Mustangs 19-10 overall, taking on Minnesota State Moorhead at 20-9 overall. It'll be the third meeting between the two teams. Moorhead won the first, Southwest the second, and we'll see what happens on Saturday night. Coach, best of luck. And again, we should also mention before we go off the air, All-Conference was named last week as well. First team All-Conference for Jordan Miller, Nick Smith, second team All-Conference, and Bernard Birch, Defensive Player of the Year. Great honors for those guys. So wanted to make sure and mention that as well. Again, all-tournament MVP was Lavion West, Nick Smith, and Jordan Miller also named to the all-tournament team for the NSIC. We'll talk to you hopefully in a couple of weeks. Next week's show will kind of up in the air. Hopefully we're still in Golden, Colorado. We'll be on it as soon as we can, and hopefully it's in a couple of weeks getting ready for the Elite Eight out in Kentucky this year. Kentucky is where the Elite Eight will be held later on this month. For the head coach, Brad Bigler, I'm Kelly Loft. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler. Until next time, go Mustangs!